This is Fred Beck from Fred Talks Fighting. Today I'm very lucky to joined by Mark Tibbs. So thank you very much for coming on, Mark. It's good to see you, mate.
Good to see you, Fred. Lovely to see you. Excuse me if I sound a bit sore, a bit rough, bunged up nose. I've got a rotten cold.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has when it comes down to the winter months. So, Mark, last night you were at the kind of the BT Sports studios with Carl Frampton, David Hay, and a few others. What was that kind of experience like for you? Because that must be quite cool in a way.
Well, it's a new experience for me, to tell you the truth. You know, I'm more comfortable in a gymnasium or in the boxing ring, and but it was lovely. It was a good challenge, and they're great people to be around. And I've known Paul Dempsey for many years, and so it was nice for him to invite me into the studio, along with Joe Kozaki and Carl Frampton and what's his name, David Hay. Yeah.
And was that your first time doing Planetary or being a pundit, or have you done that before?
No, I've never. I wouldn't call myself a pundit, but I was invited in, so I thought it's a challenge, and good people, so I welcomed it with open arms. Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, you don't have to buy the pay-per-view at the end of the day. They'll buy it for you, I guess. So it's all right
That's
then.
right.
So what was it kind of like then? Because I remember seeing at the end of when the fights are all over, you kind of have like 4 TV screens and you're all sitting there in your chairs. Did you guys kind of watch the fight and talk to each other, or after your notes down and then get ready to say what you want to say at the end?
Yeah, we was watching it round by round. Obviously, watched the fight as it happened, and it was being produced in the USA, but what's his name? Paul had to, intervene at times with us in the studio back here in the UK. So it was we was all on our toes and enjoying the fight at the same time, and it was a good fight. It was a good, Plant. He done a lot better than I expected. When I looked at his resume and who he fought, there wasn't nothing really compared to Canelo's that stood out for me. So I thought we'd done well to go 11 rounds, Plant. Indeed, yeah, for sure.
Do you think you gain a lot more fans then, Caleb?
What, through that? Yeah, I mean, that's just, he's boxed a pound for pound now, and he held his own with him up until Canelo did get his measure. I mean, Canelo gets his measure, he bides his time, gets his measure, and it was getting a little bit close, wasn't it, near the 12th round. So, some say it was tight, but for me, he was always pressing. He was always pressing it, and but he made it difficult, Plant, for Canelo, because he couldn't quite get through with, 4-knuckle contact. He was riding and sliding and parrying shots, and all credit to Plant for that. And I thought we might leave this a bit late because we all wanted to see a good KO sort of thing. But no, he done well, Plant. I was surprised because I didn't give him a lot of I didn't think he'd stand up or hold up that long. Yeah.
So did you think Canelo would stop him a lot earlier then? Say when the fight was announced, was your prediction like, I think Canelo will get him early?
Well, I weighed up his record. I had a look at his resume on his record and who's he fought and whatnot, and it wasn't great. He hadn't had any big names, and they keep talking about this Truax, and I remember seeing Truax at the Copper Box when he fought James DeGale and beat James DeGale, but James DeGale beat Truax on the return, and when Plant beat Truax, I think Truax was like 37-year-old, so it wasn't very, very appealing to me. So I just thought, I looked at his frame, I looked at what he'd done to Callum Smith, and Callum Smith was a lot taller, a lot longer than Plant, and he broke Smith down in emphatic fashion, and I just thought he'd do the same to Plant, but Plant done well to. I thought he'd go. To tell the truth, I was being a bit. I said 6 rounds, but he went 11. So credit to Caleb Plant, yeah, for sure.
I can't remember which round it was, but did you see when Eddie Reynoso, Canelo Alvarez's coach, was kind of getting a bit frustrated with him in the corner? Do you remember that at all?
I heard Paul Dempsey mentioning that, and I think if I'm right, it was around about 9 or 10, around about round 9 or 10. I didn't see it myself, but I heard one of the boys, David or Cole, definitely Paul mentioned it, that you know, Eddie Reynoso was, you know, not racking him, but, you know, letting him know, man, you got to pressure, you got to find it. You know what I mean?
And a lot of people are saying, I know the judges didn't have it this way, but a lot of people are saying, a lot of sports pundits, journalists were saying they had it quite close at the time of the stoppage. How did you have it? Did you have it quite close or a bit wider to Canelo?
Well, no, it wasn't wide to Canelo. I mean, well, I thought, you know, at the time, I think I had him 2 rounds up Canelo, but I think we was just, you know, not excited, but we was surprised how he held up Canelo, Plant, how he held up, and he was nicking that counter shot. He was nicking counter, you know, he was nicking little counters, but and then kept coming out of range. And at one time, he gave him a 4-shot combination, and I thought, well, he's going to blow his tank, yeah. But no, you know, I wouldn't say he had his moments, but he was in it. He was in it, but it was just a matter. It's always a matter of time with Canelo, unless you can punch a little bit stiff and hard. You know what I mean? Like Golovkin did. Yeah, exactly. It's always going to be difficult for the opposition at the moment. We're sat there, but no, I was, you know, I was when I heard Plant's backstory. It was heartbreaking about his 4-year-old child and obviously his mum. That, you know, I was made up for him that he'd done so well. Do you know what I mean? And probably that's where that fight comes from. That giving that you know that fight in him to make it that far.
Yeah, exactly. He has got one hell of a story. And obviously you thought Canelo Alvarez or Billy Joe Saunders. Who do you think gave Canelo a tougher fight? Billy or Caleb?
That's a really, really tough question. That's a really tough question. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not going to answer that. Sorry, Fred.
No comment then.
No comment. No comment.
That's fair enough then. And there's one more thing on Canelo before we move on to one of your fighters. When you did fight Canelo with Billy Joe Saunders, was there anything that surprised you when you because obviously you see him up close in the ring and then you watch him on TV. When you were seeing him up close in the ring, was there anything that surprised you about him at all?
Well, no, I'll tell you, I'm going to go back. I'm not going to change the subject. I'll come back to that. See, Caleb last night, when he started off the fight, he actually did what Billy Joe did. He slipped to his right. Caleb slipped to his right, a bit low, but then he's cornered him. He'd done that a couple of times, and that's the mistake Billy Joe made in the fight. You know what I mean? He bent to his left, and that's when he wound the right uppercut up. And that was a big mistake by Billy Joe, and he was, you know, he was told not to do it, but you know, for some reason, you know, it's a bit of a safety mechanism. But and he did it. He did it, you know, twice too much. You know, third time I think he nailed him. But Caleb done that last night. He done it once or twice. Went back to the corner. Never did it again. He never did that again because he was playing into his hands. But he stayed tall as he could, and as long as he could. And I thought in Caleb's previous fights, for them long levers he had, for me, he used to fight medium range, but they weren't that dangerous in front of him, to tell the truth, so he could afford to do that. But I thought if he fights like that in front of Canelo Alvarez, he's going to play into Canelo's arms. But he was a little bit more swifter on his feet last night. He knew how to be. But no, so what I'm saying was he must have gone back to his corner, and his corner checked him. Don't bend to your right or to your left, or give your right away, basically, because or go flat-footed. So yeah, I was impressed by that little adjustment they made, and it proved it gave him, you know, longevity, and you know he was in the fight until he got caught with a left hook in the 11th round. But yeah, what was that, Fred? You said before that.
Oh, I just said I got a question here. Well, when you were watching Canelo up close, did you see anything different about him from when you were watching him on TV or anything, on a laptop or on YouTube or anything?
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying, and a lot of people say that to me. Do you feel and see the aura around him? And no, I don't really. You know, he behaves like a king because he is a king. You know, he walks like a king. He's got the authority of a king. So, you know, if that's what you want to call aura, I guess, you know, and he walks into the room, and he's you know, when a special person walks into a room and, you know, they light up the room, I suppose you could say he's one of them.
Yeah, I guess he can. All right. So I want to talk about one of your fighters, Johnny Fisher. I was at the Cameron vs. McGee fight, and when we were just walking to the O2 Arena, we get fans coming up to us. Well, not fans, just supporters of Johnny Fisher coming up to us, and they're always obviously they're wearing their Johnny Fisher t-shirts. They're like, "Oh, you here to see Johnny Fisher? You supporting Johnny Fisher?" All of that around it. And do you think that's the loudest in the O2 Arena? Was that one of the loudest arenas you've been in? One of your fighters?
No, it's not. It's not the loudest for any of my fighters, but he done incredible well for his full fight and selling 1,500, 1,600 or 2,000 tickets, whatever it was. It's it's unheard of, really. And it takes me back to like Ricky Hatton, and there's a guy last night, Haney, was it Haney? He was on the bill. He does a lot of tickets. He was on the
Frank Warren
bill.
bill.
Where's that?
Was on the Frank Warren bill.
He was on the Frank Warren bill. That guy does a lot of tickets, and he brings like 1,000 fans. But Johnny Fisher, no, he's for where he is in his career. Yeah, he's the biggest ticket seller, I guess, for where he is right now. But obviously, I headed Dillian White out to the O2, 20,000 fans, quite often. So hopefully, if he keeps chipping away and doing what he needs to do, he will sell that place out one day. Please God, fingers crossed.
And obviously, Eddie said he kind of wants to move Johnny slowly. How fast do you want to move Johnny in his career, considering he's only had 5 senior fights and 5 amateur fights as a junior?
Well, he's like you say, he's got limited amateur pedigree, and he's only 21 years old. See, when you've got I say this time and time again, when you've got a man like Johnny Fisher with work ethic and an understanding of body mechanics, and he's learning the craft. He's learning his craft really, really well at good speed, and so we just got to take it fight by fight and know what we're working with, and his promoter and manager and myself will communicate in what we're going to put in front of him in order for him to grow. It's like putting something in the oven, but don't overcook it. You just got to put it in at times, test him, pull him out at times, and the secret's in the training. It's in the training, not the secret. It's no secret. It's bringing them on in the gym, and certain bits of sparring, not overdoing the sparring, or not wearing him out in training. So he's enjoying and he's growing and growing in his craft. Yeah, that's what we intend to do.
I'm sure you and Sam Jones did a great job with him. And after the fight, did you get invited out with them to have a Chinese then?
Yeah. Do you know what? I've been invited out by Johnny and his family a couple of times, but last night was one of them, and I was working. So, yeah, I seem to be, I'm overworked. But no, we have lunch quite a lot after training sometimes, me and the team and the boys in the gym and the fighters. So I'm sure, no, Johnny's invited me out, but it's just been difficult. He's back in the gym tomorrow. So he's back in the gymnasium tomorrow, along with John Hedges and a new guy I got in the gym, Tommy Fletcher. He's a S-Jam fighter. So, yeah, so they're getting back in the gym. We're going to go crazy, going to tick over. I've got some bits of new equipment coming in. I want them to help me set it up before they start using it. And yeah, so let's see what S-Jam have got in store for them in the next couple of weeks, I guess.
Yeah, I guess a heavyweight boxer is the best person to kind of help you set up any new equipment. Anyway, I just want to end on this question. Every time there's a big fight abroad over the seas in America, when you wake up, do you normally wake up for fights, or do you normally stay up for fights? Because last night I stayed up, but I regret doing so. I wish I'd woken up. What about you? Do you normally wake up or stay up?
Well, to be fair, I wanted to get some sleep in the afternoon here where I live, and it was difficult. It was Saturday, and I've got a 6-year-old son that has to go to rugby. He wanted to go rugby, and something else he wanted to do. Then, so I try and nick a couple of hours, but you just can't. And I wish I did. I wish I could have done, but I was feeling it last night. But I went down the gym myself. I've got another gym where I train myself, do a little bit of maintenance training, not boxing, do my own bit of stuff, and the swimming pool and the steam room and that. So I had a bit of time down there to relax. So that was equivalent to my nap
Okay, it sounds quite the opposite, going to the gym instead of going to bed and having a sleep. But all right, Mark, thanks so much for your time. I do appreciate it. So where can people find you on social media, Instagram, Twitter? You got anything coming up you want to shout out?
I'm just waiting for some more dates. Oh, funny enough, I've got
Harvey Horn. He's out next month. Westerman.
Yeah, he's out in about 4 weeks' time. The York Hall is 25th, I believe, 25th at York Hall. He's topping the bill. He's defending his WBO European title, his flyweight title, and he does a good job there. We expect him to fight for the British title. So he's in he's sparring tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. And he's really got the flavour now. I mean, when he's always had a date, he's always had the flavour. But he's really excited, and he's matured in the 2 years he hasn't fought. He fought a couple of weeks back at Wembley on the Wasserman show, the Chris Eubank Jr. show that Chris Eubank Jr. pulled out. He fought on that show, and he put on a really good performance. I was really happy for him. Showed a lot of confidence, and always a good boxer anyway, but showed a lot of flair and punching a little bit harder. In that 2 years, he's been in active fighting. He's still been ticking over. He's been doing strength and conditioning with my coach, Sonny Cannon, who works wonders with him, and he's got a fight plan in place, and as I say, he's topping the bill on the 25th of November at York Hall, Bethnal Green.
And you know the Wasserman brothers. Do you know how I could get a media accreditation for those guys? Because I've tried emailing them and all that sort of thing, but I got any response.
Well, this is what I'm going to do, Fred. I promise you, I'm going to talk to a guy tomorrow through Harvey, and that's all I can say. I can only try for you.
Awesome.
All right. I'll promise you I'll do that. I'll promise you I'll do that with Harvey Horn tomorrow, and his Wasserman guy.
Awesome, that's awesome. I actually sent Harvey Horn a message. I got a mate called Chris Ledger, and he trains down at Jab, and Harvey coaches down at Jab as well. Yeah, I
that's right.
Harvey. He replied to me, but he said, yeah, we'll do an interview, but he hasn't got back to me about what day or what time. So I need to send another message after this, but we'll catch up soon then, Mark. Thanks for your time. I really appreciate it.
Fred. All the best, Fred. Take care, my man. Have a good day.